Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to make this box, but we're actually going to use the Nike logo also. So within Illustrator, we made this Nike logo. Everybody should have done this by now. What I want to do is I want to export this because I'm going to put this into the box. But you can't really just cut and paste, and it's really because of the layers. And then also, if you're trying to put this in, a photo editing software, the Nike logo, if you have it, if it's in all these layers, it doesn't work. So what you want to do is you want to export it as a PNG file. And I think we already did that. You don't want to export it as a JPEG, and I'll show you why, because I'm going to do both. So I'm going to go ahead and export this as a PNG file. So I'm going to copy that link so I can very easily grab it. So there it is. And you're going to notice it says background transparent. And that's all you really need to know, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to start a new, a clean document. The other thing I want to say is some of you were looking and your screen didn't match mine. So the workspace I'm using here is, and this is default. It says Essentials Classic, and that's over here. So if you don't see what I'm doing, and it's all here in the window. So Workspace Essential Classic. And I think that's really, and then the toolbars advanced is what I'm doing. And then I've got some other thing, layers and properties in here. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to be doing a demo on this box. And so the easiest way to get the box in here, this is the box. What you would do is, you're going to lose it for a second here, but you want to just click and download it, right? And so you'll see it on the bottom of your tab. And what you really want to do on this, you can import it, but honestly, the best way to do it is to grab it and just drop it onto Illustrator. And so once you do it, you might find it's too big. And so what typically happens very often, let me zoom out. I'm going to go zoom out. Quite often when people bring this in, is it'll be like really big and they won't see it, and they'll start drawing it. And so it's really important that you scale it down so it fits onto this 8.5 by 11, because you can print this, and that's the objective, is to be able to print this out and then either use glue or paste it or just cut it right out on the material. And we're going to make a box. So a couple things we want to look at. So I'm going to zoom in here. You're going to notice this weird cutout. And it's important you understand what that's all about. In this design, it actually holds the box together. So, packaging is obviously a billion-dollar industry, but people put a lot of thought into it. And so you want to be aware there's a little cutout here. And so that's going to be really important when we start. So I brought it in here, and you want to have your layers. So I want the Windows layers. And once you get your layers in here, you're going to see that it's there. And it's really going to be important that you lock your layer, because if you try to do this all in one layer, it's not going to work properly. You can't print. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to say box, right? So I'm going to, so I have this box here, and I'm going to zoom in. And so now, just like we did with the previous logo, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select my pen tool. And if you leave it on there, it tells you what it is. You can also right click and it gives you a little bit more breakdown. So I'm going to go to pen tool, and I'm going to basically try to do this. Maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit more. I'm going to try. I noticed that the top and the bottom are essentially the same. So I'm going to be able to just reuse some elements here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this tab on the very top. And so right now it's defaulting in white. That's okay. So I make sure I close it up, and then I can go here. I can select the color here, and we can add color. And so you can also add or subtract. This back one is like the line weight. And so you'll see the line weight here. So that's good. I'll just leave like that. And now what I'm going to do, I could either make the box here. I could just literally grab a box and make a box like this, right? I could put one right underneath it. And you want to try your best to, and it's not perfect because I scanned it. You want to try your best to get as close as you can to this. Let me zoom in. Now I might want to change this color. You can do any color you want. So that one's green. Okay. I may need to zoom in and out. I'm using this white arrow here. I want to be able to not have the box behind it showing, right? So there it is. And just to be sure, I can turn off some of these other features here. So I'm going to be able to turn off the background and turn it off and on. So you want to do that, all right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this piece right here. And so again, I'm just going to use this pen, and you can just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about this small curve here unless you want to, but I'm essentially just going to create this shape, this like L. And then when I get here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click it and hold it, and I'll create that little radius. All right. And then I'll go down, and I'm just scrolling down. I'll click it. And then again, I'll click it, hold it, and I'll click that little radius. So the other thing I can do is I can make this transparent, but I can just eyeball it because I can change it later. Less is more. I'm just clicking and clicking, and then I'm going to close this up. All right. And so then what I might do is like say, okay, let's differentiate this a little bit. Let's make this a different color. You don't have to, but it might make it easier for you. And then you can kind of clean this up. So there is a gap here, and that's for the fold of the box, right? So you might just want to take not the left arrow, but the white arrow here. I might say I need to bring this down a little bit. I stretch it down so I can compensate for that little gap here. And so let me zoom out. All I need to do on this box is build half of it, because I'm going to copy what I just did on the bottom. So then I just basically need to build this bottom portion. And if you notice, this weird thing on the left and right is the same. So that's going to help me. So let's just, let's make this easy on myself. I'm just going to make another rectangle here. And maybe and you can do this all the same color. It's all good, whatever you fancy. Maybe I'll do this one in orange. And I'm just doing this for you, just so you can kind of see the difference. All right. So now what I'm going to do, and believe it or not, this is the last one I need to do, is this here, because then I'll just be able to mirror it or copy it to the other side. Right. So let's just do this last one here. I'll take the pen tool and I'll start on this top left, and I'll come down. And you don't worry. If you want to make that radius, that's okay, but that's not really all that important to me. And so I goofed up a little bit. Make sure that I'm closing it up properly. So let's change the color of this again, maybe a light blue, whatever works for you. And then what I may do is, I already know, oh, that's a little bit too big. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get as close as you can. And the reality is, it won't be till you're going to make this box till you really understand, oh, I understand what they're doing. So now that I've made this, what I'm going to do is I could just either go Control-C or edit copy, copy, and then edit paste. And I can they should be symmetrical. What you'll find with a box is if the bottom and the top don't match, it's not going to work. So I could do something like this. And the box is kind of skewed. So then I could take this one here, Control-C or edit copy, paste. So, there's no reason that I want to reinvent the wheel here. And then I could just go down. If you look here on the left menu bar, there's a rotation tool. So I just basically click it. And if you hold the Shift key down, it'll do it in increments of 90 degrees. And then I'm taking this white arrow and I'm just building this thing out here. And it's not perfect, the box, but it's pretty darn close. And then what I'll do, let me zoom out again, is I can take this box right here. Now, maybe what I'm going to do is let's take this one and put it on the other side. So this is a little tricky. I'll go Control-C or edit copy, and then edit paste. And I'll move it over here and I'll rotate it. Let's see what happens. And I'll just click on it, hold my Shift key down and rotate it. But you see, is this one working? Cool. So that one works fine. So perfect. And then what I can do is I can take these three, Control, edit, copy, and edit, paste, and drag this down here. Now I'm going to need to rotate this, or I think I might actually need to mirror it. Let's see what happens when I rotate it. Yeah, I've got to actually invert it. So rotating it doesn't help me. So what I might do is, if you look over here, bear with me here, there should be a like a mirror command. If I reflect tool, right? So I right click on the rotate and I'll say reflect. Let's see what happens when I do that. And you notice it actually did it perfectly. So again, I right clicked on the rotation tool, I hit reflect, and all I did was click on here and move my mouse north or up above. And that's how I got it. And then I'll just line this up, and believe it or not, I am done with this. Now, what you want to do though, before we move on, is I want to get rid of the background. We don't want to print out the background because that's not going to help. And then you also want to align that. So I noticed I did that a little quickly here. Let's just take these three here and move it over. All right, so that is the first part. And then the second part that you'll want to do is we want to bring in that Nike logo. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to place a logo in here. I say place. I'm going to show you why we want to have the PNG versus the JPEG. So if I take the JPEG logo and I place it in here, you're going to notice that it's got this white background and it's never going to go away, right? So I can try to scale it and such, but I'm stuck with this white background. So if I want to have that Nike logo or your logo, I'm stuck with that. Whereas if I place the PNG logo, place, and I'll place the PNG, let's see what happens here. So there you'll see that this has the alpha channel, so it's invisible, right? So that's really going to be cool. Now, maybe, this green on green isn't going to work so well, but whatever. So what I want you to then to do is to turn this in. And the funny thing is, when you print these out, or, you don't have to have the Nike logo on here, because I want you to cut this out. But I do want you to start seeing why you need to create PNG images. So maybe I put this over here, and I'm going to rotate this. Again, right click, hit the rotation tool. So I'll put it here. So a couple things are going to need to happen though. When you cut this out, you're actually going to need a line. And so I'll finish it off with two lines that I probably should have put in. You're going to need a line of some sort, or you can do it just using your imagination, but you're going to need a line here to fold it, because that tab gets folded. And then you're also going to need a line down here. So, you're going to need probably a straight edge, to do this. So I'm going to put that line over here also. So I'll make a line here, and I'm essentially done with this. So let me show you what you're going to do then though, is what you're going to turn in is you're going to save it. So you want to save it as, and I recommend you save it as an Adobe PDF. You can save it as a pure Illustrator file, but if it's opening within Illustrator, you should be okay. So I would say on this one, I would say let's get rid of that. We're just going to type in box. All right. So we'll call it Smith's box. And that's what you're going to actually give me two assignments here. So the first assignment is going to be, notice it says preserve Illustrator. So you want to make sure that's there. You can just save it as an Illustrator file, but then you can't, PDFs are a lot more fun because you can then look at it and inspect it. So that's the first part of the assignment. The second part of the assignment is I want you to then cut this out, and you're going to actually take a picture of this. You can do it on regular paper. It's just very flimsy. So what I recommend you do is either print it out on cardstock or print it out on regular paper and then cut with scissors or an X-Acto knife and put it on thicker paper. So glue it on and then cut it out, and you're going to give me a box. All right. So what we did here was we took this Illustrator, this I scanned, it was actually a candy box. I downloaded it and then I dragged it into Illustrator. And I created a new layer. So what I don't want to see you do is print this out. I don't want to see, that doesn't do us any good. And, we want to scale. So what we did is we scaled it. So I can go over this a little bit more, but you have it in layers here. So the great thing about this Nike logo then, because it's in a separate layer, is then I can then very easily drag it around as I need to, right? So that is the demo. Let me stop the recording and then we can discuss this further. Hang on, please.